So Adobe paid to fly me and a bunch of other designers out to the headquarters in San Francisco. Since they were paying for the hotel and the flight, I chose to fly out of Ontario Airport and got the luxury of avoiding dreaded LAX. If you've ever flown out of the Los Angeles airport, you know how insane it can be, and I try my very hardest to always avoid that place. Con to wearing the Doc Martens is it takes fucking 5 minutes. Put them on and off at the TSA. Even though I wasn't feeling the greatest and just kind of got off being sick a little bit, the trip was super easy and it was hard for me to complain when the whole trip was free. I had some snacks along the way, nice little sparkling water, and honestly, my flight was only 51 minutes. Other designers were flying from all over, like Florida, Canada, New York, and even India. You know, it's hard for me to complain when my flight took under an hour. Once I arrived, I was pretty blown away by the hotel. The hotel was way nicer than what I imagined, honestly. I rarely stay in hotels these days, and it was a nice change of pace to walk around this fancy ass place and have a room all to myself. Do a little quick room tour. Got the double bed. I don't know why. I only needed the solo one, but pretty nice. Got this cool little chilling area. Bathroom seems nice too. Yo, so we made it. Pretty crazy getting to be flown out by Adobe like this. You know, they pay for the hotel, you know, the room, the flight, all that shit, and some shit going on. It's pretty cracking out here in San Francisco. Last time I was here, I was staying at the Castro, and then another time in the Sunset District. So a lot different vibe from like the downtown area. I'm excited though. Been talking to some other designers that I know on Instagram. I think we're gonna meet up a little bit later and probably get some lunch or something. But this isn't like sponsored or anything. But I just thought it'd be cool to kind of document a little bit of this journey. We got the summit shit going on tomorrow. Still don't know how much I'm going to be able to talk about. We'll see what's next. I was pretty excited to meet Ram, Duran, Eli, Piper, and Paulina. We'd been talking a little bit before the summit in this group chat, trying to figure out who's going to this event, what we can do while we're there. And it helped ease the nerves going into this trip, knowing I had people to hang out with, or at the very least, some people I recognized. What do you think?
It was an 8 out of 10 for me.
Best plane I've ever had. 3.5.
Really?
Yeah.
That bad? Wow. I was a little nervous in case we didn't get along, but right off the bat, we were cracking jokes and having a great time. The first day was pretty chill. We just got settled into the hotel, ate some lunch, and explored SF a little bit until this opening dinner thing we had planned. The Adobe team brought us to this taco place, kind of the most casual dinner of the ones that we had while we were there. I think kind of as like an icebreaker and to meet some of the other creatives. It was funny because, you know, when we pulled up, everyone thought that we had already all known each other because we were kind of rolling as a squad to every event. And even Ram was joking the first day about how he felt like we were at the kids' table at this first dinner, just sitting there fucking around while all the adults were getting settled in and kind of chilling.
I forgot my Photoshop socks.
Also, that first night at this taco place icebreaker thing, the head of Photoshop product, Steven, came up to us and started chatting us up. I don't know if he had a few margaritas in him or what was going on, but he was super chill right off the bat and excited to talk to us about really anything. This is Steven. He's super chill and is responsible for helping Photoshop get better and better with each update. However, in all honesty, we know Photoshop isn't perfect. So that first night, we were grilling Steven with all the things we want changed in the program. Just super heady Photoshop shit that probably only bothers, decimal point percentage of the population.
$700 anymore. Like that's what it used to be. It was like $700. It was free.
I had to give it up to Steve though. The fact that he was so chill about it set the tone of how we were able to communicate with the team the rest of the trip. And even though we didn't agree with everything they had to say, they took our feedback and hopefully we'll make moves based on that. We bailed from the dinner, I think about an hour or so after that, but we wanted to keep the party going at some bars and we met some other cool designers along the way. And it was fun to hang out with the initial crew and these other creatives that we met. We all got along really well and it was really cool to have the same feeling that I have when I go out with my homies back home, But the only difference is, there's way too many graphic design jokes being made. And we could all just kind of discuss and relate to each other. Because after some more drinks at the bar, it was cool hearing us talk about pricing, how to interact with clients, and, just things my friends back home would have really no interest in or honestly any advice for me about. Overall, the first night was really fun, and I'd say it was a big success. And I was getting really excited for the actual Adobe Summit the next day. We had a lot of fun last night. We went out with the Adobe team to dinner and stuff, and me and Duran and Ram were like grilling the Adobe Photoshop manager about all the features we want changed and shit. And now we're about to go over to the summit for the actual first day of it and get some breakfast, and hopefully I can tell you guys about a lot of what happened there. I'm really curious about what they're going to talk about. So on the day one of the summit, I was super excited, and we were stoked when we first pulled up on the Adobe building. We were literally just fucking around outside, taking pictures in front of it for like 5 minutes, trying to get that perfect thumbnail. Right away, as we got in, super serious, pulled up to the front desk, and they had us sign these NDAs and, all the stuff that we're allowed to and not allowed to talk about with Adobe. I knew that was what it would be like going in, but I wasn't sure the specificities of it. And honestly, I'm still a little bit confused, but I think I figured out what I can tell you all about. And for the most part, this purpose of this video is just to share a little bit about the trip and share overall high-level opinions about everything rather than, nitpicking each little feature and whatnot. So the summit thing was basically for all these designers who primarily work in Photoshop to be able to give their honest and constructive feedback on the program. And I think, kind of open up a dialogue between the up-and-coming design community, the veterans in the kind of business, and then the Photoshop team with what we want to see, what we like, what we don't like, things like that. And then the first day was, mainly a lot of advances in the AI world and with some stuff in Adobe Photoshop and their new AI training model, Adobe Firefly. The coolest Photoshop thing was from the first day, and it was this contextual toolbar that's actually out right now in the beta. One of the OG Adobe employees was there too. Literally, this guy, Russell, he was the man who convinced Adobe to buy Photoshop from the Knoll brothers back in like the late 80s or 90s. So pretty much responsible for what we're all doing right now. And he kind of had this like very hipster vibe that he'd be riding on or one of those bikes with the really big wheel or something. Honestly though, throughout the course of like the summit, it kind of felt like a small classroom vibe. And I was pretty proud of myself and my group of design friends because we were seemingly one of the only groups of people giving honest feedback and a lot of pushback on the AI stuff. I don't know if it was a mixture of wanting to be invited to more Adobe things in the future or just being scared to voice your opinions or just other people really into the AI stuff. It felt like we were kind of the minority in that department. And honestly, there were some people there that were so overly excited about AI that it kind of bothered me because they would be excited about the very functionality of things that would soon replace them, like digital painting stuff, or the studio product photographer who was excited about the AI generating unlimited backgrounds and placing products in any scene. The main takeaway I got from the first day is that this AI stuff is inevitable, and all these other brands like Midjourney and DALL-E scrape the entire internet to train their AI model, which runs into problems with copyright and things like that. However, Adobe, as of now, has agreed that Firefly will only generate from stuff uploaded to Adobe stock and stuff that we give consent to. I think that one thing is very important, and I like that they're putting these guardrails in place for the future of this super rapidly advancing technology. So as of now, and to my knowledge, they're only using stuff based on Adobe stock to train the model, which is great. I just got back from the first day at the summit. They taught us so much shit about AI and all this stuff, and I got to figure out what I can still talk about and not, and I'll probably be doing some kind of voiceover on the video, but lots of thoughts, lots of nihilistic thoughts, some cool features, but lots of things that are a little bit scary and kind of dystopian, but I'm really curious to see how all this stuff pans out and for you to see these tools that come out when they do. Once the first day at the summit ended, it was really cool to be taken to this nice restaurant. I think growing up poor and not having, access to these kind of places, I still feel a little bit out of place when I'm in them, or, guilty for any type of success or kind of lucrative ventures, whatever you want to call it. However, it was nice to have the design homies I was with look just as out of place right next to me. The Adobe team treated us really well the entire trip, so shout out to them for that. It was much appreciated. We messed around a lot and got to hang out with other cool designers and the Adobe's team's chill members that we all really liked: Paul, Steven, and Joel. Also, big shout out to Kelsey Slay for helping organize this trip and inviting us all through Instagram. And they did take our concerns and stuff super serious, it seemed, especially after we had all been drinking a bit. My boy Eli and I got pretty drunk, and I almost forgot I was at a work event for a second.
Had a Photoshop product back there.
Oh,
and
shit.
I'm smoking on OPAC in front of them.
Yo, what's your favorite design program?
Appropriate.
Yeah. That first night after the dinner, we kept things moving at the hotel bar, and it was hilarious to be getting drunk with Ram, Duran, Eli, and all these other designers that we met, and also the head of Photoshop and Adobe being there. I knew we would have a lot of fun as a group, and I thought that the summit would be interesting, but I was pleasantly surprised by how cool everyone was and how fun some of the managers at Adobe were, to be honest. And they also hooked it up fat, so I had to give them credit. Bought us food, drinks, really wined and dined us the entire trip. And I really hope to do something like this again in the future. At the end of that first night, me and a bunch of designers were still trying to hang out, so we went to the liquor store and just chilled in one of the hotel rooms, drinking beers, and it really just felt like hanging with some of the homies back home. And there are so many cool designers out there. It's really awesome when you meet and you're into the same stuff and down to go out and have fun and also talk about the design process, some creativity, business stuff, and really just talk about the things that we don't get to talk about all the time. So we did have a little bit too much fun, and I woke up the second day of the summit and was mad hungover. Felt like I was back in college again, getting ready to go to class. But luckily, they had some breakfast and coffee for us waiting at the Adobe headquarters. I can't speak for everyone else, but overall, me and my small group felt a little disappointed by how much AI talk was on the first day, so we went in hoping for something different on day 2. Luckily, the second day was a lot cooler, and we saw all these new features coming to both Photoshop and Illustrator. The Photoshop dudes, Joel and Steven, who showed us a bunch of the features, were some of the best presenters too. They were overall super nice to talk to the entire trip and just had a lot of cool things to share with us, and it genuinely felt like they cared about the workflow of a designer. And that is the type of AI stuff I'm excited for. Things that can be used as a tool to make your job easier, not automate the entire creative process from concept to final execution. Once it was all over, it was nice talking more to the Adobe Photoshop team and taking more than enough photos with the homies outside the headquarters. We gave back our name tags and whatnot, then headed back to the hotel to rest for a bit before the last and final dinner with the Adobe team. The second night after the summit was a lot of the same. We got dinner at this ping pong place, which was a lot of fun. I had to throw it down with my boy Duran, get some good matches in there, get some rallies. And if you know me, one thing I love about a good bar is if they have games. The same squad we were mainly hanging out with the whole time consisted of me, Ram, Piper, Paulina, Eli, and Duran. I just want to give them another shout out for making the trip really fun, being good homies, and even better designers. So we played some more games and whatnot, like shuffleboard, and I really tried to overall enjoy the experience of being on this mini work vacation thing. I wanted to make sure I was professional at the summit, but also enjoy myself since I wasn't planning on working that entire week. Something I'm trying to get better at is not doing this half work, half vacation, weird limbo state, and just fully embracing whatever mode I'm in, either work or play. They gave us so much food during the entire trip too, and I only paid for like one meal the whole weekend, so hard to complain about that. By this point, I feel like the designers I was hanging out with really got to know each other well, and it kind of felt like we've been friends for a while. I remember sitting with Duran at the bar telling him straight up, I'm so happy we got along and this whole trip wasn't awkward. That's the main awesome thing about the internet. It connects you with like-minded people you would probably never get to meet or even interact with. Hey, after meeting this guy, what do you really think about him?
This guy's not positive at all. He's like the most negative guy in.
Quit filming me, fuck you!
After the ping pong place, Paul Paul from Adobe wanted to keep hanging out, so invited all of us to the hotel bar again for drinks. I think we got there with only like an hour left of it being open, so we ended up doing this classic 2 a.m. walk to the diner for some late night breakfast food. It was really fun doing the same shit, like walking drunk to a diner, that I would do with my friends in LA, but with all these designers I met online. And even the older dudes who were there that teach Photoshop tutorials and stuff were hanging out, and it was just a really good experience. The whole trip, there were so many stupid niche design jokes made. I think I've said all the ones I can say for the whole year. I went to bed feeling pretty happy and accomplished with the whole trip. And then the next morning, I just took it pretty easy, got some breakfast and coffee with Duran, then headed to the airport. My Uber driver was super chill too. He was telling me all about his trips back home to Afghanistan and stuff. And it was really nice just meeting another person along the way. The only bad thing that happened that day is I was starving. All I ate was this shitty banana nut muffin thing that was way too overpriced. And I guess I forget to eat, when Adobe's not paying for it anymore. But I was excited overall to go home, sleep in my own bed, and see my girl. But leaving these new IRL friends was bittersweet. Hopefully we can all get together soon. Adobe Max? ? After getting home, I had a little bit of time to think about the whole experience and develop some thoughts about the future with Adobe, AI, and I just think my overall perspective that'll continue to change, but where I feel about it right now is that this AI stuff is inevitable, and that doesn't mean I have to like it though. I also feel like so many people are so overexcited and mesmerized by the fancy tech and all the use cases to make their art and design easier that they have blinders on to the fact that it'll make it easier and easier for them to become replaceable. Also, we see it so much already online, but prepare yourself for more and more mediocre, trash art and design flooding the internet. It's going to come down to how we can keep the passion and personality in our work that rises above the technological trash and keeps the soul in the art. I believe if you have a perspective, a nice style, and you have a story or message that needs to be heard, whether it's in art, design, music, video, whatever, you'll be all right. I truly appreciate Adobe for flying me and a bunch of designers out, and the way they treated us the entire trip was nothing short of amazing. In terms of AI though, I'm personally not going to let the machines replace me yet, and I'm excited for all the creativity that this revolution will breed. That's it for now. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time. Peace.